Basically, it's a series of star notes that were duplicated with their serial numbers. So they were basically, the serial numbers were printed twice, once from the Fort Worth facility and once from the Washington, D.C. facility. I think from what you said on your video, Sean, that a lot of these are, you know, selling individually in whatever condition for like 20 to 30 bucks.
Yeah,
so
yeah, on average for both the DC printed runs and the Fort Worth.
Right. Because the big thing is, if you get both of, you know, if you match up a pair, there was just a recent sale on a graded pair that is also on Sean's video that sold for over $9,000. Here's some of the diagnostics. So I'll let you watch the video, and we'll give you a little bit more information here in a second. But basically, you have to go back, Paul. I'm not done. Okay. So basically, it has to be a year series 2013 note. It also has to be a star note, and that third little arrow to the bottom right, that's the plating number. And this one is a Fort Worth, so it says FW in front of it. The other one will not have an FW, obviously. So for Washington, D.C., and I don't think it has anything designating it's Washington, D.C. It just doesn't have the FW. So I guess the question would be, how would I find these things? How would I make a matching pair, unless I'm just searching bills, and I happen to find it? So it's really kind of cool, because if you go to this blog spot, and I'll put the link in the chat here in a second, you know, you can go in and put your information in, and then if there is another person from somewhere else that goes in, puts in the same serial number as yours, but maybe they have the opposite, you know, either you have the Fort Worth and they have the Washington, or vice versa, then you kind of get hooked up. And, you know, who knows what happens from there. So if you click on that top left menu, it gives you this menu drop down. And I basically just wanted to show this because you can see there, like I had found one of these bills early 2021. And the time that I had heard about it, it was actually called the Ziegers Winograd Project. And those two individuals, that's the last name of two individuals, and they were putting together this database of, you know, these 2013 bills, star notes, trying to help people connect up. But they were doing, I guess, very manually and stuff like that. So whenever Past Expiry got involved, he kind of automated a lot of the things to where it's a little easier to track. I guess the database is a little more user friendly, and he said that he keeps it updated, you know, every couple of days. Rocky Mountain Bear, is there a region in the U.S. where the people are more likely to find these star notes? No. So the Ziegers Winograd Project ended in September of 2021. That's kind of when this one took over. He was also mentioned in Coin World, so it's kind of, you know, that probably, you know, gave some more exposure to it, which may be why there's, you know, a lot of people selling right now. I don't know. But since the time that he started the blog spot, the documented pairs has grown from 11 to 18. So basically, out of all these thousands of pairs of star notes, there's at least been 18 matching pairs that have been found. But here's kind of an answer to your question, Rocky Mountain Bear. He said that when discovering matching pairs, the bill owners are never in the same state, and for some reason, he's getting a lot of them from Venezuela, the UK, and parts of Europe. But the 2013 B duplicated serial numbers. So we got an email from the person who has the largest collection of these that's at least known to anyone. And we're going to call him Private Collector, or AKA Alf, just because I was thinking about, you know, Alf the Alien, and everybody loves that. So Anyway, we've had some communications back and forth, and I think that he, he gives some good background information on the program and what's happened, because he was there whenever they started really trying to gather the information and try to make matched pairs and that sort of thing. So I put a bunch of his stuff from his emails in here, and just going to read through some of it. And we've got some pictures as well. Just thought it would be kind of a little bit of education for us. But basically, it came out. He said, I have the largest privately owned, at least known, of these collection of these notes that all fall within the duplicated range. The pair that Sean talked about that sold on eBay for $9,300, that wasn't too long ago that he did that video, was originally this person's. He sold it through Stax Bauer's auction house in August of 2021, and then this other person resold it on eBay. The uncirculated note, this is how he discovered it. The uncirculated note he pulled from a BEP pack that he got out of Alaska, and the circulated note he found online in a coin shop in Germany. All right, so this is the challenge of trying to put these things together. It took several months to get it here from Germany. So, okay. He was also, yeah, no crazy. Right? He was also asked to attend the Vegas National Coin Show and display his collection and, give some education and background on the series. He was part of the original project, which was known as the Ziegers Winograd project. If anybody had heard of that prior to the new one that we talked about, which was the project 2013B. So next slide, please. Here's his setup at the Vegas Coin Show. Good, and you can see that entire table is full of cases of these notes that he's got. And just look there, that first one on the right-hand side. I mean, how many is that? That's a ton, right?
Oh, are these just the single ones, or are they all matched?
These are the single ones. So okay. He has the largest collection of just single notes, trying to find pairs, apparently.
Okay.
But not to say that he hasn't been involved with finding pairs. These were three pictures he sent of his different cases, and you can see there it says duplicate serial and numbers on it, which I thought was pretty cool.
It is cool.
Yeah. So here's some of the history. He said at first the BEP chose not to list the Fort Worth run of 2016. It took an FOIA, which is Freedom of Information Act request. So they had to, make a request before they compiled and added the listings to the public records. So they were kind of going to blow it over, and we may never even known about it. Thought that was very interesting. Thanks, Indigo. And the grading company PMG and Heritage Auction House refused to call them an error. It took renowned currency error expert, Dr. Frederick Bart, who is the author of the U.S. Currency Errors book, 4th edition, to put out his attribution of them as a production error, duplicate serial numbers. He did want to clear this point up. There was a distinction that there's a lot of talk on eBay, advertising the notes by themselves as an error. But he's saying that it is not. The error designation only applies when a matched pair is physically brought together. So how many pairs are there? It's approximately 21 to 25 supposedly pairs known, but, and he said this is a big but, even though they say they're confirmed, they're not. There have been some incidents where a pair is matched, but then it turns out the original lister of the note sold the note, but didn't remove it from the list. If someone goes ahead and looks at it and says, oh, I can get 30 or 40 bucks for this, and sells it, then this happens. So there could have been a confirmation made, but they sold it. And turns out they cannot be brought together. Therefore, it's a false positive. Or they confirm the match, and one of the owners tries to cash in quick and goes out on eBay and says, saying a sale for a confirmed 1/2 of a matched pair, and then it's gone. right? So trying to make the quick buck. Our gentleman, Alf, as I like to call him, is currently in communication with 2 collectors working on a settlement to bring 2 more pairs together. So he's, you know, he's got some stuff going on, which is great. He also sent a picture of the first ever graded matched pair. It was done by PMG, and with just the duplicated serial number label, because at that point he's saying it was not considered an error. The pair is still in his possession, and it also is the highest graded pair when combining the 2 note grades. It's a 66 and a 55. There are individual notes that have received higher with grades, like a 67, but the second note is always much lower, which he also sent a picture of that. So on the left-hand side, you'll see that's the top graded pair known to date. And then on the right-hand side, there is a 67, you know, on the top. I don't know if it's the Fort Worth or the Washington, D.C., but I'm assuming the higher grade is probably Fort Worth, just because they're newer, you know, hadn't been in circulation as long. So yeah, great to see. And they're worth, you know, quite a bit of money. He did have this to say: the project really did start out for a purity on purity of collectors trying to just see if they could possibly find a matched pair. The original first pair ever found was by a guy in Washington State. So you have a chance, Paul, and probably Sean too. He would handwrite his notes on paper, put a stamp on it, and mail it to Carol in Florida. Carol was part of the Ziegler's Winograd project. She was one of the originators of that. He has no internet, no email, no computer, no cell phone. And then, pow, he is the first to match one all by himself, which is amazing in itself, right? So lastly, he said, I did have one serious collector talk to me and offer me $300,000 cash for my collection. This was at the show. I said, that's very kind, but it's not for sale. I'm just exhibiting and sharing information. It did feel nice, though, to finally have this project/collection taken seriously. So the end, or is it?